see the laborer, hero's passion never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the award-winning Tiwa Savage and the Abe Musu Choir. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Your Excellencies, eminent countrymen and women, party members, party leaders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome all of you to the inaugural All Progressives Congress National Summit. This is a historic day, not only for the APC, but also for our nation. The work we begin here today is the work that will build a new Nigeria. A future when there are jobs for everyone who wants to work. A future without leaders who deprive the very families they are supposed to protect. A future of peace and stability. A future when Nigeria can feed its families. A future when a Nigerian education is as good as any education in the world. A future when the high prices of food and fuel do not undermine every family's quality of life. That is the future that we start to build here today. We will tell them the APC is ready to build a new Nigeria. What we are talking about today is our future. We can accept the Nigeria we have, or we can build a new Nigeria. And let me thank in advance our esteemed speakers and panelists, as well as the long list of skilled, capable contributors whose time and effort made this day possible. Also allow me to acknowledge our national leaders who are here with us today, starting from Major General Muhammadu Buhari, to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Ogbonaya Onu, Chief Bisi Akonde, all members of the Interim National Executive Committee, our governors, and especially members of the Party Strategy Committee, led by His Excellency Chief John Odige Oyegun, His Excellency Garba Mohammed Gadi, His Excellency Abdulaziz Abubakar Yari, Senator Osita Izunazo, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Senator Bumi Adetumbi, Honorable Pari Iriase, Hajia Adiza Bala Usman, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Mr. Jimmy Lawal, Alhaji Nasir Ali Koki, and the young man who managed our committee secretariat, Mr. Tefa Tiligiado. Our party owes them a huge debt of gratitude for their incredible work on both the Code of Ethics and the roadmap to a new Nigeria. Fellow delegates, together, starting from today, we will build a new Nigeria. God bless you all. Long live the All Progressives Congress, and long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Raji Fashola.
Nigeria had always been in trouble. Nigeria had always been in problem. But those of us who are leaders, or who are elders, we are becoming very sad to see that most of our children, the youth of this country, are becoming destitute. And for that reason, we feel before we go away, we must do something to promote our youths, to give them the best of education, and to give them jobs.
Nigeria will have to be properly managed. And we all know we are lucky. We have tremendous human and material resources. But our lack of ability to put good leadership to manage these enormous resources and both human and material, has become our problem. And the youth are becoming highly agitated. So this is why we have to mobilize, make all the necessary sacrifices, and have a party so formidable that really it is unstoppable. Thank you very much.
When I started in politics, I started in a two-party system, strong foundation, Social Democratic Party and NRC. I believe that principle is good for my country. It's necessary. If we must show the competitiveness of this country, if we must create a virile economy, if we must create an enabling environment for investing, we can manufacture, we can be productive, we can be competitive. Shame to a nation with a number of barrels of crude oil and no refinery.
When we started this process, we all agreed that there would be no conditions. We decided that nobody should place any conditions on the table. And that was why it gave us the room to now use the principle of give and take. So we had problems. Definitely there is no way that you will do this major is the first in Nigeria, is the first in Africa, and it has not happened in the world for so many years. So the question is, why did this not happen in the past? And why did it happen now? It's because we were driven by the singular objective of putting the interest of our nation first.
I must give credit to our governors. At two crucial stages, they came in externally to influence the process. One was when we were to choose the name of the party. It became a terribly contentious issue amongst the emerging legacy party and the DP, part of DP and ABGA. But the governors came in and they were able to resolve the issue of picking the word APC. We must give them that credit. The second stage that was most trying for us was picking the symbol of the party. The legacy party was jostling. At a point we said we'll put the maize, the broom, and the pen, which would look incongruous. And actually we were designing all kinds of things for us. But the governors again came in, and in a twinkling of eye, they helped us to resolve the issue of the symbol, and we ended up with the broom, which is a symbol of unity. I want to thank them and thank our leaders for the give and take that we all did to make this possible. Thank you.
I saw the passion, the desire to reach out to people, that we are really suffering in the midst of plenty. I saw a great future for Nigeria through APC.
I'd like to give recognition to Governor Okorocha of Imo State, that had the courage to step forward and carry the banner of Eastern Nigeria into the merger.
We have experienced a government in the last 15 years or so which has failed this country. Today, Nigerians have an opportunity to change.
The country is saying that they're not happy with the way we are going. We're not happy with the level of impunity and corruption. The youths don't have jobs, and the future is bleak. And for the future of these yearning Nigerians that are asking for a new change, we must make it work.
I go out to the airport, I see young Nigerian women with pregnancies running away to go and get a citizenship for their children outside of this country. That is not good. I go to the airport, I see people, who are escaping this country, the Andrews. That is not good.
A country that has a manufacturing sector that contributes less than 3% to GDP. A country with 60% of the populace below 40 that have no jobs. A country in which PhD holders will apply to be trailer drivers for Dangote. A country in which, during our registration, many people in the villages said they couldn't afford 100 naira to pay for 2 passport pictures in the villages. It's a country in severe trouble.
What we have today, unfortunately, it was a complete reverse. In fact, it has become a country where only the helps can survive.
APC, where I came from, as you rightly asked, Bono, Yobe, Adamawa, Taraba, Gombe. If you go to election today, 99% of the population will vote APC.
PDP say we will do this, we will do that, we will do that. 15 years, a party we formed, they are not alive to the responsibilities. But we have our pilot projects. Lagos, Edo, Imo, Kano, Kwara, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, that is coming on board for election. That's our pilot project. That's what we want to give to Nigerians.
One of the reasons I left my comfort zone to come into politics was because of General Muhammadu Buhari, his integrity.
Those who are there in the name of governors, at all levels. I'm not talking of APC governors because we know they are performing. They have no business being there, and change must come. That's why APC is there.
Thank you very much.
The All Progressive Congress is committed to a Nigeria
that achieves its full potential and promise.
We work towards a nation that is economically and socially vibrant, peaceful, just and secure.
A nation where the blight of corruption is no longer tolerated in our political, business, or civic affairs.
A nation that invests in improving the livelihoods of its people and the places where we live.
Our party considers the Nigerian people as our nation's greatest asset.
And will do everything to protect and preserve human life and dignity.
Today, it is obvious that PDP has given to our people a bad leadership check, a check that cannot be cashed in any bank of prosperity. We must therefore preach the gospel of unity. But for us to unite, we must de-emphasize ethnicity and religion.
Let me appeal to my colleagues to adopt the Sokoto model. Since 2007, in Sokoto State, there is nobody living in the state, no matter where he or she comes from, is paying a kobo in primary or secondary school in the state.
APC today is the answer to rid away with the extreme poverty exist among Nigerians, more especially our teeming youth, unemployed, and women. I believe strongly today, anybody who passes through this exit coming to Hilton, a real PDP man, from today, I believe will not sleep with 2 eyes. He really knows that the business is no longer as usual. He will believe today the opposition has a better deal.
There's a huge deficit in infrastructure, huge deficit in security, huge deficit in the economy, and of course in the human capital development, which is very critical. We have seen how our huge deficit in human capital development has led to security challenges. This is very critical. We cannot pretend that everything is well. We must go back to the drawing board, and this can only happen when there's change.
What is the way out? What is the way out is to go and have an audit and make sure those corrupt people, those fraudulent people that are depriving the ordinary man from attaining his goals in life are being checkmated.
It is time for Nigeria to experience its full potential now. It is time we invest in ourselves. It is time we build a country that will allow our young people have jobs and fulfill their dreams. That is what APC will do. Thank you and masalam.
We are going to bring those glorious old days back to Nigeria, where everybody will be happy. We will be convinced that our education here is as good as it gets anywhere in the world. That is the kind of nation that we want to leave behind for our people. I see a Nigerian, which they are not seeing, that very soon the issue of power will be resolved.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want you to participate as follows. I will ask you 5 questions, and then you answer me, and I will mark you whether you have answered them correctly. 1, is Nigeria currently working well? No. Are Nigerians respected abroad? No. Are we happy with the situation in Nigeria? No. Those are the no's. Do we want a new and better Nigeria? Yes. Do we have an answer to all the questions I have raised? Yes. APC is the answer, and it is the new party for a new Nigeria. Our overall objective of APC foreign policy is improvement of the well-being of Nigerians, respect for Nigerians abroad based on charity begins at home. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening.
And we thank you very much, Governor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Governor.
I've told you that the distinction between the two parties is simple. One believes in power without responsibility. The other believes in the people as the cardinal objective of government. Which party will you therefore recommend for support in your state? APC. 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 Change federal.
APC trusts our people. APC wants free and fair elections. APC welcomes the ballot box. APC believes in one person, one vote. APC sees the connection between free and fair election and credible performance in office. APC believes in one Nigeria dedicated to social justice and people power. Our vision is clear. Our mission is now. It is to make poverty history in Nigeria. That is our new Nigeria.
Too much power in the hands of one person is even dangerous. Too much power corrupts. This current federal government has attempted to take in more power into its own hands. This current federal government ignores the law. It finds its way around the law. This current government therefore threatens states where their governors criticize policies. This is the downside of too much power and too much control of resources. We must have a strong government at all levels, at the federal, at the state, and local government levels. That is what the APC is committed to. That is our new Nigeria. Thank you.
They accuse us of being a Muslim party. A Muslim like Asiwaju Tinubu, whose wife is a Christian, and that is what they call religious tolerance. A Muslim like Babatunde Fashola, whose wife is a Catholic, and that is what they call religious tolerance. Or is it a Muslim like Baba Akonde, whose wife is a Christian and the children are Christians? Which of them accusing us of being a Muslim party have a Muslim wife with Muslim children? We are talking about religious tolerance, the opportunity to serve your God the way you want to serve your God. That is what APC represents.
The fundamental differences between the APC and the PDP are they are the party of the past, while we are the party of the future. They are the party of the insiders. We are the party of the people, for the whole people of Nigeria. They believe in privilege, and we believe in equality of everything that we have. They believe in a special favor, and we believe in fairness and justice. They believe in everything staying the same, but we believe in change, change, change.
Good leaders should listen and follow their people. That is the situation where we are today in Nigeria. The people, the masses, have already taken the direction of change. And anybody who wants to win election from councillorship up to presidency, especially those who understand the figures on the ground, will certainly understand that the people have taken direction of change and therefore the direction of APC in this country.
If it is true that we have sustained growth over the years, how do we explain the poverty of the majority? I think one way to explain it is to travel to the airport. Take the first call to the commercial side, and you will count the number of planes on the tarmac. You go to the private side, where the private jets are, and you count the number of planes on the private tarmac. And you will find that the number of private jets in Nigeria are now much more than all the commercial planes put together. Which means the forces that explains this extreme wealth of very few people, those same forces explain the growing incidence of greedy poverty across the country. I think it's clear that jobs cannot be created by miracles. Everything that has happened to a nation is the result of meticulous planning. There are no miracles in the life of nations. There could be miracles in the life of an individual. You can't keep the same party for 50 years and expect progress thereafter. May we have the spirit to stand on our feet and fight for what we believe in. APC provides that platform, and I'm glad to be part of this army of change. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Another round of applause for our wonderful governors. Thank them so much for their fantastic speeches. But before we move on to the next section, I would like to call upon the minority leaders who represent APC from the Senate and House of Representatives to please come up and just speak very briefly on the code of ethics from their point of view as they represent the legislators who are holding down this party. So could I please call upon the Senate Minority Leader, George Akume, and His Excellency, the House of Representatives Minority Leader, Femi Bajamila. Thank you. Gentlemen, please come up.
It is now time for what? APC to reconstruct and to recreate hope, to restore hope for our people. Hope that tomorrow will be better than today.
In APC, we speak of a new Nigeria where our God-given human and natural resources are fully harnessed for the greater good. Every time I remember the words of the great Bob Marley, I wonder if he had Nigeria in mind when he sang, "In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty." We speak of a new Nigeria that can truly be called a federal republic, practicing a federal system and not a unitary system. We speak of a new Nigeria where other arms of government are truly independent and where the rule of law reigns supreme. We speak very expectantly of a new Nigeria where no child will be left behind and education will be a right and not a privilege, and where being shoeless will no longer mean being clueless. The movement for a new Nigeria crosses ethnic barriers, a cross-border movement from the sleepy mountains of Plateau to the creeks of the Niger Delta. It's a movement for a permanent cure, which, incidentally, is my own definition of the acronym APC. I call it a permanent cure. This is our time. This is our moment. Let us seize it. May God of all creation direct our noble cause. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and give a round of applause to our wonderful APC governors and our legislators who now delivered an excellent presentation and spoke of the Code of Ethics. Governors, Your Excellencies, we thank you so, so much for your wonderful time and your contributions to this great country. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, we have spoken about the Code of Ethics, and as the governors exit the stage, I'm going to ask the founders of the party to please come up to sign the blank board. The founders of the party first. The founders of the party first, please. The founders of the party first. Could the founders of the party please come up, led by the national chairman, to please come up with your colleagues to sign this document. Thank you. The party founders first. The party leaders.
APC, a new party for a new Nigeria. APC, a new party for a new Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay, could everybody vacate the stadium? We just want the party leaders on the stadium so that the podium does not collapse. So can I please ask some people to get down from the podium? We cannot take all these people. Gentlemen of the press, could you please get off the podium?
New party for a new Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, party leaders. Could the governors, led by Governor Okorocha, to please sign? Please sign. All governors, please sign now. Gentlemen of the press, please, this podium, gentlemen of the press, I am begging you, the podium is too small. Please. Maybe select here, but everybody can't stand on here. I'm begging you. It's fine. I'm not listening.
APC, a new party for a new Nigeria.
No, not even close. Governors, can you please
stand up for the champions, stand up. I was built to be the best, number one and nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, I believe. I know.
The roadmap is a reflection of the wish of the average Nigerian, because in putting the roadmap together, it's a collective reflection of the wish of the Nigerians spread across the country, expressed in different forms, but all aimed at creating an enabling environment for Nigeria to prosper.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lai Mohammed, the fact that the APC today is presenting a document called the New Roadmap for a New Nigeria, how does this make APC different from other parties, but particularly from the ruling PDP?
This is the first time in the history of politics in Nigeria that a roadmap for the country will be arrived at in a very scientific manner. In other words, we did not just sit down in the room and decide to write down what's going to be the roadmap for Nigeria. What we did was that we commissioned and undertook the largest survey in the history of Nigeria to actually ask from those that matter, what exactly is wrong with Nigeria? What exactly does Nigeria need? And this is what informs the outcome of this survey. And from this survey, we were able to know exactly whether Nigerians think the country is being well run or not. If it's not being well run, what is needed? This survey, which is the product of the roadmap, has confirmed to us that unemployment, corruption, insecurity are the major challenges Nigerians are facing. And what you have today is derived from the result of those surveys, and we are, for the first time, actually giving Nigerians what they need, rather than imposing on Nigerians what we think they need.
It seems that we are the last section of the society that is considered in anything that has happened in the history of this country. Now, but this roadmap puts us at the forefront of everything that the APC is planning for Nigeria, because Nigeria belongs to the future, to those who are 35, 40, and below, because we are the ones who constitute the largest population. Around 75% of this country are within that age bracket. Now, we have this roadmap providing for people who are just graduated from the university will be paid the same amount they were paid in the NYSC for 1 year after their youth service. They will pay the same amount if they agree to go and enroll in skills acquisition centers, so that they will earn skills and gain skills that will help them to become self-employed. Funny fact, the shoe I'm wearing right now cost me 3,500 naira, and it was made by my neighbor. If he was the kind that got a larger market, he won't need to, any government doesn't have to come and, pay and make him a talk during the elections, because he'll be able to pay his way through. Again, there will be promotion of technology transfer, and there will be investment in new and less expensive technologies, which will make sure that people like me who don't want to work in an office can walk up to them and say, hey, I have this technology, it works, and every phone in this country will have a device on it that will help people communicate better with each other. So this roadmap is going to create 20,000 jobs per state. It's going to encourage governments to focus on job creation, and most importantly, very importantly, young people will lead the charge. So I think this roadmap takes care of my problem as a young person.
Now, Mr. Dino Malay, you have gained a reputation for being at the forefront of the fight against corruption. And this roadmap has very, very specific things it says it's going to do against corruption. Take us through some of these things that the APC wants to do to fight corruption, please.
Without mincing words, what is practiced right now as democracy, the roadmap is trying to define democracy in its lucid form. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. What the PDP is practicing right now is what I call greediocracy. Government of the greedy, by the greedy, and for the greedy. And this is what the roadmap is trying to correct. Without belaboring you with unnecessary commentaries, the Minister of Petroleum, as I speak to you, has been indicted by 6 different reports. 6 different reports. One, the KPMG report, the Senate report on subsidy, the Farouk Lawal report, the Neti report, and the Ike Imokode report, even the Ribadu report, have indicted the Minister of Petroleum of various forms of corruption. But because we have a government that is deaf and dumb, there's a convention in this country. Before now in this country, once you are indicted as a minister, you are suspended. We saw that happen during the time of Obasanjo when Sunday Afolabi was the Minister of Internal Affairs, was indicted in the case of the national identity scam. In fact, he died in prison. We had Fabian Osuji, who was Minister of Education, removed because he was indicted. We had, even the time of Yaradua of blessed memory, Professor Grage and architect Gabriel Aduku, Minister of Health and Minister of State for Health. They were removed because of their indictment in corruption. But this is a woman and many other ministers that have been indicted and re-indicted, but every Wednesday you still find her immaculately attired and cosmopolitanly fashioned in diamonds, attending the Federal Executive Council meeting under the watchful eyes of an unperturbed president. We cannot continue like this. So the roadmap is actually coming at a time when we are getting to the brain. And I want to say the solution to all these issues of corruption in this country is nothing but the APC. Because the Poverty Development Party, where I was, once I was blind, now I can see.
For me, this roadmap is really important because now we have resolved, at least there is a party that has come out to say we will fight this corruption thing head on. So what we need is commitment, hard work, and the will to actually fight this corruption.
As it is today, corruption pays. And it's cheaper. Because if you can massively steal, you can protect it using not only the judiciary system, but also using government itself as an instrument to protect it. Because we run a system where a whistleblower becomes an accused. We run a system where a celebrated thief is celebrated.
Malam Nasir Rufai, this sounds really good. It's a good roadmap. It says all the right things. But like Malam Aramazuk said, even in the Nigeria of today, there's no shortage of laws that are against corruption. The issue has always been the will. What is it about this piece of paper and the group of people that have come together in the APC that should make us believe that this time around there is a will and that these things will actually be implemented and they won't remain just a sheet of paper that is sitting on the table?
I think the best way to differentiate the APC from the PDP, not only in the area of fighting corruption, but in many other policy areas, is to look at the track record of the leaders of the APC. I do not think that in Nigeria today there is anyone that can stand up to the anti-corruption credentials of General Muhammadu Buhari. If the PDP can produce one person of comparable standing as far as track record of fighting corruption and impunity in Nigeria is concerned, of General Buhari's standing, then you can say that what we are saying is the same as PDP. In the same manner, in every other area, not just fighting corruption, look at what our governors are doing. Nasarawa State and Ekiti states are the two poorest states in Nigeria as far as statutory allocation from the Federation account is concerned. But go to Ekiti State and see the wonderful work that Governor Kayode Fayemi is doing. Why is he doing that? Because he's not stealing. Because he is using the resources of the state for the benefit of the people of the state. Go to Nasarawa State and see what Governor Almakura is doing. He gave his story in the morning about how he did a staff audit and brought down the number of ghost workers by 23%, brought down his payroll by 23%, and was able to pay the minimum wage without any borrowing from the banking system. But go to the PDP states and see how much they are in debt. Kaduna State has the second highest debt in Nigeria today. I'm from Kaduna State. Go to Kaduna State and see what is happening or not happening. So when the governors of APC or the leaders of APC talk about fighting corruption, I think the results are there on the ground for you to see.
What is corruption? Corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. It hurts everyone whose life, livelihood, or happiness depends on the integrity of people in a position of authority. Corruption by politicians is not just a bag filled with cash, it affects our lives in many different ways. When a parent is unable to buy shoes because he has to pay for his child to get into a free school, this is corruption. When a small business owner has to bribe a policeman month after month after month, this is corruption. When lower safety standard aeroplanes are flying the skies, following under-the-table bribes, this is corruption. When elections are bought rather than fairly won, this is corruption. When the NNPC loses $20 billion, which could have been used to buy 10,000 kilometers of road, or 1,666 world-class standard hospitals, or the payment of salaries of 160,000 teachers for the next 100 years. This is corruption. Corruption is crippling Nigeria. In order to fight back, the APC will strengthen laws and institutions, toughen penalties, and improve transparency. We will create a healthy economy where our natural assets are used to create jobs and opportunities, where every individual, civil servant, businessman, and government leader must play by the same rules, obey the law, and reject the temptation of all forms of corruption. The APC, a new party for a new Nigeria.
A keynote address, and I'm going to call upon somebody that is very well known, a very great Nigerian indeed. Could you please put your hands together for Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, the former Vice President of the World Bank, former Federal Minister of Education, and one of the co-founders of Transparency International. Please give her a fantastic round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is this working? Thank you very much for your warm welcome. Let me start by saying that when I received an invitation, I got a call from Governor Fashola saying that they would like me to speak at your program. I spoke with him, and when I got off the phone, I started thinking of exactly the word that he used, which is that everybody knows your perspective in terms of governance. And so the issues of governance, and you're coming as a special guest to speak to us about governance and issues that have to do with economic development. And so as I thought about it, I realized that this was going to be an opportunity to really address some of the fundamental issues that I find myself addressing in a number of the countries where I currently support their leaders to focus precisely on these matters of governance. And so I want to say thank you to the chieftains as well as the members of the All Progressive Congress I thank you for inviting me at this event where you will be unveiling your roadmap. Whosoever you care to attribute the existence of Nigeria to, it would do well to reflect back and to know that no integrity of a country could have happened were it not permitted by the Almighty. I believe that we would have been less than a country by now, would have been less than the country we are today. Nigeria would not be the big population that it speaks to, which is economic development is important. Had it been that the civil war did not come to an end, if any part of Nigeria breaks away from Nigeria as constituted, you no longer have Nigeria. I need every one of us to always bear that in mind. What remains would not be Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact is that whether you're from the northern part of this country or you're from the southern part of Nigeria, the eastern part, the western part of this territory, most Nigerians feel a great sense of disappointment of what has become of the dream that our founding fathers imagined was possible. What happened to the country that held so much promise on that morning of October 1, 1960? After all, nothing makes the point of the failure to successfully transit from a country to a nation than the fact that we are yet again at a place of conversation about our country. We need to talk yet again. After many times of talk, what happened? How come a country which at independence was enthusiastically described by our first leader as an independent sovereign nation is at 53 hosting yet another constitutional, I wish it were, hosting yet another national conversation to determine whether it is a worthy union for everyone? Ladies and gentlemen, should we be clapping? It should be a cause for sober reflection. And citizens are saying that if there's anything you do, it is to remember that they seek full participation and will demand for democratic accountability. They wish to see a scrutiny of public institutions and to demand for results of governance. The unwillingness of any group of political elite in this country to understand the emergent power of the office of the citizen would be a tragedy indeed. Thank you.
As a people with one song, with one voice, we're a nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause to our keynote speaker, Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili. As she has said, the last 14 years has not been nation building. Nigeria is not working. Nigeria can do better. And we will do better. This roadmap, this APC roadmap, is the solution. There are 36 governors in Nigeria, and I'm proud to say that 16 of those possess the 3 C's: character, competence, and capacity, and this will be our social contract. So thank you, Doctor, for giving us that wonderful rendition and connecting it to the vision and the future of a new Nigeria and a vision and the future of this particular party. So at this point, we would now like to get some first-person testimonials from the future of a new Nigeria, the next generation that will now paint their ideology of how best to interpret the roadmap put together by the APC.
Years ago, I made a decision. I made a solemn vow to myself that I was going to move from being an armchair critic to being gainfully engaged in the process of bringing the change that I and people like me yearned for. It was therefore very pleasing news when, shortly after I heard that people whom I had looked up to for the better part of my adult years decided to place the collective before the personal, and the All Progressives Congress was born. Firstly, before I go on, I would like to say that everybody who was a part of the merger process deserves a commendation, and my generation is eternally grateful to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this golden opportunity to be here today. I have been an advocate for change for as long as I have been in partisan politics, and that is way back in 2002 because of a gentleman and a soldier, General Muhammadu Buhari. But I know that the APC is not just a political platform for people seeking political offices. It is an institution of democracy to save the future. So APC is not all about 2015. It is about those kids who are 20 and 15 that were killed in Bundi Yadi Federal Government College. It is about changing a government that sits down before a national television and threatens a traumatized citizen by telling the governor that he will pull out the soldiers if he talks the way he talks. This is what we have to change. 2015 is important, but the next 15 years in the opening chapter of another century of this country is even more important to this young generation. We will do Get Out the Vote campaign. If PDP are proud of rigging, we will do anti-rigging campaign.
Ladies and gentlemen, this indeed has been history. So at this point, I would like the party leadership and the governors to please join me on stage to officially thank each and everybody for coming out today.
Stand up for the champions, stand up. I was built to be the best, #1 and nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, I believe. I know I can count on me. So stand up for the champions, stand up. Stand up for the champions, APC, a new party for a new Nigeria.